After covering two theories that seemingly no one has talked about, I'm going right into a topic that almost everybody has talked about. The UA Traitor, and its potentially most likely suspect, Denki Kaminari. So, what could I offer to this age-old theory that so many people have talked about? Well, I want to provide an alternative way of thinking based on the evidence collected by not just myself, but Twitter users Papa Shirogane and I'm so sorry. So shoutouts to them for making me rethink this whole scenario. We're going to go bit by bit on why Kaminari would be the perfect traitor character for My Hero Academia. Now, looking at all the members of Class 1A, certain characters get more screen time and development than others. So I'm going to categorize them into a couple of groups. First are the main characters, the ones that we have seen the most growth and development from in regards to being a hero. We can rule out all of these characters right away, because while yes, anything is possible, these are pretty much the poster children of MHA. And making them suddenly evil would be more of an ass pull than a surprising twist. Especially Uraraka. I have no idea why some people think that. Like, the villains could barely afford sushi before the PLF was formed, and you think that they could fund her family for intel? On the opposite side of the scale, we have the minor characters. These guys simply don't have enough weight to their characters to warrant being a good candidate to be the traitor. Aoyama is kind of an exception to this since he's gotten more screen time recently, but I'm still gonna put him here. Let's think about it from a storytelling perspective. You're watching a murder mystery, and the true culprit ends up being a character you saw 2 minutes of at the beginning of the story who had like 3 lines. You wouldn't care, because there is no investment in that character. The same applies to someone like Hagakure, as some people have said before. I like Hagakure, she's a cute character, but that's all she is. In the grand scheme of the audience, how many people do you think would actually care after over 300 chapters of mystery and discussion? It's the character who solely exists to be a lighthearted joke. Now, that leaves us with the side characters, the most likely suspects. So let's rule out some people. Yaoyorozu has had several episodes dedicated to working on her self-confidence as a hero, and was the key player in taking Gigantomachia down. She also cried at the death of Midnight, so I don't think it's her. Speaking of which, Mina is also exempt from this role for a lot of the same reasons as Momo. Standing up for people in need and being a beacon of hope for people is a core part of her character, and her being the traitor would betray that development, and not in a good way. It would feel more like regression than progression, if you get what I'm saying. Tokoyami saved Hawk's life after he trained him, Tsuyu has consistently been a team player, Jiro had an entire musical number about her being a hero people can rely on, and frankly, Mideta is too much of a joke character to the point where if it was him, I don't think a single person would be happy. That only leaves us with Kaminari, the perfect sweet spot between a character we've seen enough of to have an emotional attachment to, while also being someone we don't know much about, aside from the small scene here and there. Going into the manga side of the story here, specifically regarding the origin of Toga, we learn that the quirk you are born with will influence your personality. Toga's blood-sucking quirk made her naturally attracted to the concept of blood. Shigaraki had a growing itch to destroy, even as a little kid, regardless if it was subconscious at first. You get the point. So, how does this relate to Kaminari? Well, instead of going with the traditional path of a traitor character and having them reveal themselves as a liar with the whole "haha, I fooled you all along" thing, I think there could be a much cooler way of going about it that could explain everything. So what's Kaminari's quirk? It's electricity, and electricity has a positive and a negative charge that attract towards each other to work in tandem. So what if they took this concept and implemented it into Kaminari's mental state, having a positive and a negative side? In other words, a split personality. The perfect setup for a traitor character, someone who acts on both sides of the moral scale and at the same time can believably play both of their roles to a T because they themselves get lost in it. For my Attack on Titan fans that may be watching, if you think of this in the context of that character, everything I say after this point will make a lot of sense. This, in my opinion, would be the best way to pull off